Anyway, let's crack on with the question. Is the time of 1080p monitors over? Kind of hope so. What are your thoughts on image quality slash performance of 1440p DLSS quality on a 1440p monitor versus 1080p native on a 1080p screen? Is there any reason outside of super high refresh rate to still buy a 1080p monitor over 1440p? Or is upscaling to the point where even those with low to mid-range hardware would be better buying a higher resolution monitor? This is an interesting question, right? Because I think we're at the point now where 4060, 3060, those sort of class of cards, ARC, they do actually run pretty well on 1440p anyway on a lot of games. Thoughts on Alex?
Yeah, with DLSS too, like I think DLSS is the enabling factor for those cards because native 1440p in a modern game is actually kind of expensive.
Yeah, UE5, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
that kind of stuff is for sure. And yeah, UE5 definitely. I would also like to see the end of 1080p. It's not anywhere near gone.
End of 1080p.
Yeah, it's still the most popular resolution apparently. I don't know how many of that is laptop screens. If you look at like the Steam hardware survey, but
or how many of those are, Steam installed on a like a
gaming cafe in China.
A gaming cafe in China where I would expect a 1080p screen. So it's like, it's a little bit hard to know like representative of actual people who build and have their PCs in their home. It's really hard to get a sense of that. I think, and that's why it's hard to understand like why the GTX 1650 is on the survey at all. So in that case, I would love to see it, but I still think it has its use. I still think if you're someone who is just a frame chaser, 1080p can suit your desires very well because you can push up things even with frame generation up to ridiculous 540 FPS kind of stuff with 1080p. It's more doable at 1080p than it is at 1440p for sure. I still think it has its use, but I would almost prefer it because I'm making a video on TAA right now, and I've just started it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be talking about like the good, why TAA came into being, the bad, and it's going to have some nice comparisons. But I think a lot of the issues with TAA that end up occurring is due to low resolution density in PPI, like pixels per inch in front of your face. And like people with 1080p monitors that are sitting at the normal range versus someone with a 1440p monitor, they're seeing things on a completely different scale because the pixels are so much larger at that point. Mm-hmm. And I think it's hard. Part of the video is going to talk about that like developers are trying to make like one size fits all solution. Well, that's what TA is, and it doesn't necessarily apply to people. They may be developing it for like console games, for example, where people are sitting far away, and not for 1080p users up close. So I would love 1080p to go away over time, just so that effects and technologies that don't work super well at lower pixel densities closer to the face can come to the fore more. And I think that includes things like ray tracing, etc. So, yeah.